evening, everyone. My name is Rick Starr. I'd like to welcome you all to our Tuesday evening meeting of the Fairfield Golden Speakers Toastmasters Club. It's my pleasure to introduce the president of our club, Mr. Lewis Dembaum.
Thank you, Mr. Sergeant-at-Arms. Welcome, 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 everyone, to our regularly scheduled meeting. We meet at the Hy-Vee Club Room Tuesdays at 7:45. The club room is near aisle 13 where the ice cream is. Hey, as the weather gets warmer, you'll want to come for your ice cream a little earlier. We are a non-discriminatory club. The only main requirement is that you are over 18 years old and are able to carry out the duties of being a club member. I'd like to read also the mission of our club. The mission of our club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop communication and leadership skills, which in turn fosters self-confidence and personal growth. Cell phones. Who has a cell phone? Turn it off.
Mine doesn't get signal.
As a courtesy to everyone in the audience, and especially those who will be speaking tonight, please make sure your phone does not go off. And I see we have a couple of guests. Would our guests like to say what brought you here tonight?
I was invited by Luis, and it just seemed interesting. I wish to also develop and further, extend my vocabulary or fluency, better communicate in general.
Okay, great. Welcome. Welcome. Hope you enjoyed the meeting. Tom Trainer, you're a guest tonight? Sure. What brought you here? And Cindy Trainer's a guest tonight. Thank you both for coming, and you also for coming. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Jonathan.
Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan. Okay, so we will check in with our guests at the end of the evening. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome our Toastmaster, Art Atkinson.
Thank you, Lou. Good evening, Toastmasters. It's so much fun with that. Those were good authoritative raps by our Sergeant-at-Arms. My role as Toastmaster is to keep us moving along on schedule, be the Master of Ceremonies. First duty would be to introduce the various role players who are going to help run tonight's meeting. I'll call first on our timer, Sandy Mabry, to tell us what the role is that she's going to carry out.
The role of timer. It's the timer's job to make sure that they keep track of time for all of the speeches and the evaluations to make sure that people qualify for the speech. It starts with clear table topics get 1 minute, and then at 1 minute it turns to green, and then at 1 minute 30 seconds it goes to yellow, and then 2 minutes it goes to red. And speeches get 5 to 7 minutes. Yellow goes on, green goes on at 5, yellow goes on at 6, red goes on at 7. Table topic evaluators get 2 to 3 minutes. Green goes on at 2 minutes, yellow goes on at 2.5 minutes, red goes on at 3 minutes, and then speech evaluators get 2 to 3 minutes. Green goes on at 2, yellow goes on at 2:30, and red goes on at 3. And there's a 30-second grace period after the light starts. So go ahead.
Ordinarily, speeches are 5 to 7 minutes. We have 2 of those tonight. One, our icebreaker, is a 4 to 6 minute speech. So for that one, the timing will be green 4, yellow 5, red 6. Thank you. Our next role player is our grammarian for the evening, Luis Corral. Luis, would you like to explain the grammarian?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Yes, there's no. So my role is circumventing tonight. So I'll be looking out for picturesque or exceptionally good usages of the English language or bad uses of the English language. And the word of the day is intricate. It's an adjective. It's a very complicated or detailed, complex, complicated. An example is intricate signs etched into the glass. So I'll be looking out for the word of the day also. So make sure to use it. Get an extra point.
Luis, you are also taking on the ballot counter, leader counter role also tonight, right? Good. Thank you. Now, if Nelson Figueroa, as our odd counter, would explain the role of the odd counter tonight.
Hello, Toastmasters, honored guests, and viewers at home. Today, I will be tallying ahs, ums, likes, you knows, so's, buts, and tongue clicks, pauses, repeats, and false starts throughout the whole meeting. Thank you.
Tonight's general evaluator, Will Burns, will take over a part of the meeting later on. We have a greeter joke master, Mr. Tom Trainer, who we'll hear from later in the evening. Without further ado, I think I would like to move into the prepared speeches for the evening. We have 3. Here to introduce the first speaker is evaluator Lewis Dembaum.
It's my pleasure to introduce Gene Simonton Craig. Gene has been a Toastmaster since 2006 and has served in a variety of roles within the club, including president. She is a member and serves as club liaison of the Conscious Communicators Toastmaster Club at the Iowa State Penitentiary in Fort Madison. She is married to a Toastmaster, Dan Craig, and enjoys the camaraderie and opportunities to serve that come with Toastmaster membership. She has a personal goal to complete her Distinguished Toastmaster Award by June 30th of this year. Very ambitious.
Go, Gene.
Tonight, Gene is working on Project 2, Speaking in Praise, from the Advanced Manual Special Occasion Speeches. Her objectives are to prepare a speech praising and honoring someone, either living or dead, address 5 areas concerning the individual and his or her accomplishments, and include anecdotes illustrating points within the speech.
Antidotes?
Antidotes.
Antidotes? That's only if the person's dead. Anecdotes. That's if they're alive. Okay, the title of Gene's speech is Speaking in Praise of Tom Trainer, a Golden Speaker Legend. Speaking in Praise of Tom Trainer, a Golden Speaker Legend. Gene Simonton Craig.
Where do I start in praising Tom Trainer, Distinguished Toastmaster? Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, viewers at home, I want to highlight just a few of his contributions. There are pages. And feature 3 main areas where Tom's contributions seem to me to be the most pronounced. Tom started Toastmasters in 1996 in Rochester, New York, with his wife, Cindy. He very quickly became a president of a declining club and grew the membership from 7 to 20 over 15 months. Tom was already demonstrating that can-do, cut-to-the-chase leadership for which we know him at Golden Speakers. In 1999, the trainers moved to Fairfield, and the next month joined Golden Speakers. Golden Speakers had started in 1989, but was experiencing a decline in member engagement. Tom told me there was a meeting where none of the role players showed up. In his words, I was pissed off. Tom delivered the message. Either you show up or you get the hell out. A refreshing clarity. The first area I'd like to focus on is Tom's individual accomplishments. Tom is a double DTM, Distinguished Toastmaster, and is one high-performance leadership project away from a third DTM. This is mind-boggling service and achievement. In addition to other clubs, Tom sponsored and mentored the Conscious Communicators and Open Minds Prisons Clubs at the Iowa State Penitentiary in Fort Madison. At Golden Speakers, he served in numerous officer positions and was always ready to step in when someone had to leave for work or family reasons. In addition to being an Area 92 governor and a Division E governor, Tom is a regular attendee at the district conferences held semi-annually around the state and is well known and well respected by district leadership. The second area I'd like to talk about is Tom's role as a Golden Speakers champion. Time and again, Tom has fought for this club's honor and distinction. For example, the District 19 Outstanding Achievement Club Award, called the Traveling Lectern, goes to the club that finishes all 10 Distinguished Club Program DCP goals first in the district within a given Toastmaster year, from July 1 to the following June 30th. A club that achieves 9 to 10 goals is a superior club and is called a President's Distinguished Club. The club that finishes all 10 first is outstanding and wins the award. This award race is very, very competitive and has down-to-the-wire timing. Tom created and taught a winning strategy that just dominated the district. Golden Speakers has won that award 11 times since 1991, including an unprecedented winning streak of 7 consecutive seasons from 2005, 2006 to 2011, 2012. You have heard Diane talk about the 4 Golden Speakers officers heading out to a Sioux City officer training, 4 hours each way, on a Tuesday night in the middle of winter, 2008. That effort cemented the award for the club that year. In another 24 hours, another club would have gotten the award. The service to Golden Speakers that Tom taught us to have is what enabled us to protect our legacy and continue being the defending champions. The third area, and the area that I'm most grateful for Tom, is his role as a mentor. Tom has mentored new members, experienced Toastmasters, club, and district officers. He is skilled at all levels of mentorship. He has such knowledge, thorough knowledge of Toastmasters, that he can always make the path more simple and effective. Anyone who has knowledge can make things more complicated, more intricate. The real talent is making things simple. Whether I was a club officer or an area governor or prison club liaison or club mentor or some other role, Tom was always available for a phone call and could quickly plug into my concern. He was and is my Wikipedia for instant answers on all things Toastmasters. Not just the what, but the why and the how to implement, simply and effectively. Tom has been an invaluable sounding board. He also always seems to do what is asked. Whenever I needed assistance, Tom's ready reply, and he even did it tonight. Yes, boss. I could always count on Tom to follow through. Finally, the highest level of leadership of mentorship is mentoring other teachers to be teachers. Those of us who've had the experience of working with Tom know that he was teaching us to be teachers of the future membership and leadership of the club. This is succession, mentorship, and leadership, a very high level of skill and vision, and it ensures the continuity of an organization and this club. In conclusion, I have only scratched the surface of Tom's contributions to Golden Speakers and the larger Toastmaster universe. I have touched on his personal contributions, his role as a Golden Speaker champion, and his superior mentorship. You know, as Toastmasters, we can all learn from Tom, not only communication and leadership skills, but even more significantly, the all-important service attitude and motivation that enables us to learn how to give back. Giving back is what helps other people to grow. It helps us to grow. And guess what? It feels great. Thank you, Tom.
She wants to take a picture.
Picture. Oh, take a picture? All right.
Yo!
Going on the club page.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah, very good.
All right.
Not just great.
Thank you, Gene. You can also learn from Tom how and when to laugh.
Ha!
Please take 2 minutes to fill out a little evaluation form and give Gene some feedback on his presentation. Hands down. Thanks. Now I would like to call on evaluator Rick Starr to introduce and explain the objectives for the icebreaker, which is our next presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and special guests from the past. It's my pleasure to introduce Raven Garland tonight. Raven's giving her icebreaker speech. For those of you who don't know, this is the first prepared speech that you give as a Toastmaster, and it's the scariest. So if you weren't scared now, you will be. So I'd like to read the objectives about two objectives to this speech. One is to begin speaking before an audience. Raven has given a couple of table topic speeches, so she's accustomed to speaking, and discover speaking skills you already have and skills that need some attention. Raven Garland is a poet, musician, and eurythmist. Is that pronounced correctly? She divides her time between 3 Waldorf schools: High Mowing School in Wilton, New Hampshire, the Linden Waldorf School in Nashville, Tennessee, and Singing Cedars Kindergarten in Fairfield, Iowa. The title of Raven's icebreaker speech is Things That Serve Me Well. It's 4 to 6 minutes. Please join me in welcoming Raven.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and viewers at home. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Raven, like the bird, Marie Garland, like Judy. Does anyone not know who I'm referring to? Judy Garland had a famous role as Dorothy in the iconic American film, The Wizard of Oz. I have seen that film more than a dozen times. It was shown every year in November, a time of year where I grew up in New England, where the leaves had fallen, the grass was brown, and there was a chill in the air. One remarkable thing about that movie is that it begins in black and white. Then Dorothy goes on a perilous journey, landing in the magical land of Oz, where suddenly everything is in color. Do you like candy?
Yes.
Have you ever tried these? Starburst? These were my favorite as a child. Not so much for the burst of artificial flavor that you get when you bite into one, but because I saved the wrappers. The wrappers were so colorful, and I was such a sensitive child that the colors of these wrappers, just by looking at them, used to give me a feeling in my eyes that was like the feeling you get when you bite into it. In other words, it was intense. Color was a very important thing. It has served me well. Raven Marie Garland. This has not always been my name. My parents named me Karen. Karen Marie Manser was my name growing up, a very musical name, and I was a musical child. I learned to play the piano at 7, and I play the piano to this day. In fact, today I was playing a very intricate piece written by Bach. Besides music and color, I also loved to dance. My mother, Mary McLarnon, was Irish. She was full of songs and funny sayings, and she had the gift of gab. My father, Francis Thomas Manser, was the son of a Lebanese immigrant who had come by himself at age 13 from Lebanon all the way to Nebraska. So with one set of cousins, I learned to do the Irish jig. With my other set of cousins, I learned to belly dance. So these three things, color, music, and dance, I have been able to braid into a career in the wonderful, though little-known art of eurythmy. I teach eurythmy. One reason that I'm taking Toastmasters seriously is that I want to be able to share this art of eurythmy with many more people. Most people don't know what it is, and it's not an easy thing to speak about. I'm sure you would love me to tell you what it is, but that's not my goal for tonight. Another speech, and I will tell you more about that. My name again. How did I get from being Karen Marie Manser to Raven Marie Garland? In my 20s, like many people, I got married. My husband's name was Carter, so I became Karen Carter, a real karate chop of a name. It served me well for many years until I moved to New York, and there happened to be another Karen Marie Carter in my town who owed a lot of money. Her address was also very similar to mine. I was getting phone calls and letters daily from debt collectors. I had to get a lawyer to actually straighten the mess out. A couple of decades later, I was getting married for the second time, but this time, I looked at the phone book first. And sure enough, there was a Karen Garland in that phone book. And I said to my fiance, I have to have a new name. I'm not going to go through that again. So he came up with the name Raven, because he thought with my black hair and my drama that I could pull off something. So I've had that name for 7 years now, and it has served me well, along with music, dance, and color. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, guests, and fellow Toastmasters.
Now, Toastmasters, please take 2 minutes to offer an evaluation, and Sandy will time us. I now invite our third evaluator, Samantha Young, to explain to us the objectives for the next speaker, Ryan Prana-Miller, in his project.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, viewers at home. I will be introducing Prana-Miller tonight. Prana-Miller is a graduate of MUM with a BS in Sustainable Living. He still works in sustainability. He spends most of his time learning to become a tennis pro. And he has actually experienced travels to China teaching ESL, English as a second language. He is considering a master's degree in the fall, and tonight he will be delivering the project 3 from the Competent Communication Manual. The objectives for this project are as follows. Select a speech title and determine its general and specific purposes. Organize the speech in a manner that best achieves these purposes. Ensure the beginning, body, and conclusion reinforce the purposes. Project sincerity, conviction, and control any nervousness you may feel. Strive not to use notes. The time for this speech will be 5 to 7 minutes. And the title is, Do You Think It Should Be a Law? Please help me warmly welcome Prana-Miller.
Good evening, Toastmasters, guests, viewers at home. Today, I was on my bicycle, riding on the trail. Beautiful day. I was trailblazing, just enjoying the enjoying the weather. And I was thinking about the laws that are in our society that we have to follow. And I was in a state of freedom, enjoying the trail, and not. There's no laws to follow when you're in nature, you're just enjoying. And so I wanted to talk to you tonight about a few laws that are unusual and maybe controversial, but still are unusual in some way, just as a way to inform you of what laws exist. So, for example, laws exist to protect and keep us safe and to encourage us to be in not in a state of anarchy. So some laws do make sense. There's over 40,000 laws in the law books, I guess. So a few of them are, one of them, for example, Citizens United is a law that allows corporations to have unlimited spending on political campaigns and laws. So Citizens United is for some people it's good, it benefits the corporations, and the corporations can thus make all these contributions to law providing, or to lawyers and to the House and the Senate, and then they get all the money they want funneled back to them through subsidies, and then it's just kind of a vicious cycle, these things. That's one law that is kind of controversial. Another one is the gift of a package of 50 pounds of chocolate or more in the state of Michigan or Connecticut is illegal to your spouse if for whatever reason, you just can't give 50 pounds of chocolate to your spouse. It's illegal to smoke cannabis in 47 states, and there's now 3 states that allow you to smoke cannabis recreationally, not just medically, for cancer or other things. So it's legal in 3 states. Hemp is legal in no state, but it's legal federally. And hemp is has great uses, including shirts. That's alternative to plastic. You can make lots of things with it. You can make shirts, clothing, textiles, and paper. So hemp is another one, or that's another law. Some other laws exist, like you cannot walk across a road on your hands in Michigan, or else you'll, just in case you wanted to do that, you get arrested. Now you know. you think of any laws that should or shouldn't be? I'm finding all sorts of ones that I discovered in my research, but I'm sure you can think of some laws that might not be beneficial. So yeah, a pickle is not legally a pickle unless it bounces. I think it's Connecticut. So if you have an interest in selling pickles, now you know. I never did, and I never will sell pickles, but that's one thing to be aware of. Let's see what other laws were there. I think in some state of, there's a state, I believe in Oklahoma, somebody proposed to have, if you are getting married, and to prevent divorces, to have the man and the woman, or the man and the man, or the woman and the woman, however it is, to have them pay attention to few habits such as squeezing the tube of toothpaste from the bottom as opposed to from the top. Something to pay attention to when you're getting married. And another one was keep so the man or the woman, whoever is the cook, usually is the cook, to have them take a break and have the man or the other person cook for a week. Just straight up cook for a week. And then another one was, keep the toilet seat down. There's just all these little random things that I found and I thought were kind of interesting. So that was to reduce divorce rates in Oklahoma. That one, I don't think it passed, but that one was a possibility that went through. It didn't go through rather. So in my search, I just realized some strange laws, and I wanted to highlight them and just to explain them and see what other people thought of as possible laws that should or shouldn't be a law. And what other things were there? There were just some really strange ones, but I won't go into them. Something about, a man has the rights to his spouse's hair in Michigan. And that one got that one got removed.
All right.
That was a law for a while. So there are some laws that don't deserve to exist, and that's why I'm here to tell you about them. So and so laws can be good. They can be help protect our people from harm and theft and other things like that. But sometimes people kind of get off their rocker, and they make these bizarre, intricate laws that don't make sense, and they pass. And so it makes me wonder where people's heads are when they're making these things. And so that's my overview of laws that exist that you probably had no idea existed.
No.
That's it.
Thank you, Ryan. Now, please, Toastmasters, give him an evaluation while the timer gives us 2 minutes. Now, timer, did each of our speakers qualify within their times? Very good. So now it's time to vote for the best speaker of the evening. We have Raven Marie Garland, we have Ryan Fronner Miller, and we have Jean Savage and Craig. Please find your ballot, tear out a portion of it for the best speaker of the evening. Invite our general evaluator, Will Burns, to come forward and lead this part of the meeting.
Thank you, Art. This is perhaps not the best
being for our speakers is probably the most useful. This is where all that anxiety can drain out of you as a speaker, and you can enjoy the constructive feedback of your peers, particularly an experienced evaluator here tonight. Our first evaluator will be Lewis Dembaum. Please join me in warmly welcoming Lewis Dembaum.
Good evening, club members, guests, viewers at home, and especially Gene. Gene's talk tonight praising someone who is alive, actually, in the room. I'm going to use the manual. Gene had some very specific things to address in the speech. First of all, did the speech suit the occasion? Absolutely so. We are a Toastmasters club. We're interested in public speaking, and she praised someone who has a double distinguished Toastmaster. Very appropriate for our club and a very appropriate thing to be praising someone for. What parts of the speech were most effective? I felt your most effective part of the speech was the three main points. They were very clearly delineated, and you used the stage to delineate when you were speaking about each one. However, I would have liked to see you use more of this part of the stage. It seemed to me that most of your time was over here and over here. And from my perspective, which wasn't great, but seeing this part of the stage, it seemed like you did not have as much eye contact on this side either. How effective did Gene point out the accomplishments, the power, the inspirational sources and qualities of the speaker? I think you did an incredible job of pointing out all of Tom's accomplishments as a Golden Speakers Toastmaster, as area governor and so on, and just Toastmasters International in general. I think the only point that I would like to see you do better for this type of speech is to hit some of his personal qualities, like his infectious laugh, his playfulness. So some of the qualities that make him, Tom, as a human being, as opposed to a Toastmaster. Did she use stories and anecdotes to make her points stronger? Yes. She told us a story about Tom, showing up with no one else here and getting pissed off and giving the ultimatum, show up or get lost. And of course, his way of instilling in people the desire to get that traveling lectern, and how he inspired Diane and others to drive up on a Tuesday night 4 hours away. So she used her stories very, very well. What could have made the speech more effective? I've already spoken about this side of the stage and the eye contact, and also mentioning some of Tom's personal qualities. The other thing that I would like to see is a stronger conclusion. This is an inspirational speech by definition in your objectives, and I would like to have seen some kind of call to action, because it's about Tom, but it's about our relationship with what Tom has accomplished in his life. So maybe, step into that Tom trainer energy and go for the gold in Golden Speakers, or something that was a call to action to end the speech. And last but not least, you spoke much more quickly than I'm used to seeing you, and that's appropriate, I thought, for this speech, because it really kind of got the atmosphere up. And I would like to see maybe 1 or 2 dramatic pauses when maybe telling about Tom. Other than that, fantastic, way to go, and a great person you picked to this.
Thank you, Lewis. And now I will call up Rick to evaluate Raven's speech.
Mr. General Evaluator, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, please join me in congratulating Raven on her icebreaker speech. Good job. Congratulations on your first speech. I'd like to go through the manual to evaluate your speech. The two main purposes were to begin speaking before an audience and to discover skills you already have and skills that need some attention. It says, what strong points does the speaker have? And there wasn't enough space for me to write in all the strong points that you had. The most striking point was your comfort up here. I don't know if it's your experience as a teacher or inheriting your mother's gift for gab, but you were very comfortable. You seemed very much at ease, and we all felt that. Speech was very well written, very well constructed. Beautiful use of the language. I love when you talked about your name, Karen Carter. You said it was a karate chop of a name. Beautiful phrase. You have a strong, clear, warm voice, and you use good vocal variety to describe your speech. How well did the audience get to know the speaker? Very well. You talked about the three things that mean a lot to you or that have served you. You also talk about how you got your name or names. And what I thought was very good, we got to know you not only in the content of your speech, but in the speech itself, in your gestures and your movement. You mentioned at the end that you're a very dramatic person, and you showed us this in your speech, very dramatic gestures. Did the speech reflect adequate preparation? Yes, clearly, well written, well rehearsed, and you spent a lot of time at it. Did the speaker talk clearly and audibly? Very strong, clear voice, very warm voice. Speech have a definite opening, body, and conclusion? Yes. Comment on the speaker's use of notes? No notes. Good job. Very good for a first speech. What did you like about the presentation? Everything I've mentioned so far, plus you had very good eye contact with the audience. I particularly liked your gestures when you were talking about the Wizard of Oz going from black and white to color. You unfurled your shawl, and when you talked about Dorothy's journey, you kind of walked across the stage like this. One suggestion I would have, you had a lot of movement, a lot of good stage movement. It was almost to the point of pacing. Did a lot of movement back and forth. I would make the suggestion that movement is good for different sections of the speech, but you say one section from one part of the stage, move to another part of the stage, say another section. All in all, very good speech. Congratulations.
Thank you, Rick. And now for our final evaluator, my pleasure to call up Samantha Young.
Okay, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and viewers at home, and most importantly, Prana. Awesome job. You got up here and you have an already natural flow to your speech, so it's very engaging from the get-go. I'll go through the evaluation and give any feedback that I have. The general purpose of this speech was clear. It took a little bit of the intro to get there, but you did tell us that it was to inform. The specific purpose of this speech was clear. The title gave me a clue to give us a chance to question some funny laws, so that it could have been stated in the beginning. The speech organization supported this speech's specific purpose. You gave us a ton of great examples. You had a lot of great material. And I feel like the organization here could have been used to enhance effectiveness. So I actually wrote this at the bottom. The intro could have been, if you wanted to walk across the street on your hands in Michigan, you would be arrested. To have that catch people right in the beginning. and then you had a bunch of great laws as your examples, and then the conclusion, you tried to wrap it up and end strong with clear, concise sentences written out for your conclusion. It could give you a stronger conclusion. So that's for organization. The main points supporting material contributed, I thought they did. The examples of the outrageous and peculiar laws contrasted greatly with, you could have contrasted with some laws that are absolutely necessary to show what kind of rationale, what kind of logic were thought of behind those laws. Examples. The speaker did appear sincere, and confidence comes in time. Something that I heard actually through Toastmasters is that con means wit and fidant means faith. And so just having faith in what you have to say is confidence. And minimal nervousness. I noticed a little bit of the hand thing in it. This is actually a yoga thing to integrate the entire body. So it's interesting that perhaps your nervousness comes out and how to get yourself back together.
There you
So
go. I've been practicing that for my whole life. I don't know, man.
And I noticed you did rely on notes. And so by just memorizing, you have a chance to focus on delivery. But all in all, I heard Diane comment, what a riot. You had great material, very humorous. It's obvious that you have a lot to share, and I look forward to more.
Thank you, Samantha. And now it's time for our table topics. This is the hors d'oeuvres portion of the meeting. We're mixing up our meals here. Our main course, we're going to eat some treats now. Buying that 50 pounds of candy there. We can't give anybody. Please join me in warmly welcoming Diane Dembaum.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. My little Easter spring basket. So great to see Tom and Cindy. We're going to have some fun. This won't be too intricate. It's prop night. I learned about prop night from Tom and Cindy. It breaks up that question-answer thing. So we're going to get right into it. Tonight, you have a choice. You'll come up, and then I'm going to give you the prop. You can do two things. You can pretend you are the prop, that the prop is speaking to the audience about spring or Easter. And I'll make a plug for Passover, because that also starts this weekend. I don't know if there's any other religious holidays, but it's a big time for the Jewish people as well. Or, to make it more simple, you can look at the item, or whatever's simpler for you, look at the item and just speak about the item in relation to spring, Easter, or Passover. Any questions? Okay. So now, volunteers. Tom Trainer, come on. Here we go.
Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, honored and distinguished guests. What we have here is the Magic Bunny. Now, the Magic Bunny doesn't appear to just every person. It only appears to true believers. Those who believe get the opportunity to have a visit from the Magic Bunny. Now, what's magic about the Magic Bunny is the belief makes it so. If you don't believe, you don't get it, you don't get any magic, you don't have any laughter, you don't have any fun, and most of all, you don't get any sweet carrots. Now, carrots are good for bunnies and they're good for people. But the magic of it all is it's there when you know it's there. But until you know it's there, it can't be seen, it can't be touched, it can't be tasted, it can't even exist. In the knowingness of your heart lives the magic bunny. When you participate in Toastmasters, you all have the magic bunny alive and well in your heart, and the magic bunny transforms you from a thinking speaker to a feeling speaker, because the bunny is the magic that makes itself. Not a tabletop.
Next. Feeling springy, Eastery, Passovery. Hey, Luis, come on up.
It was a rainy, springy day. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and viewers at home. I'm speaking to you today because I want to tell you a story. Story of the day my little children birds got lost. It was a very sad day for me. I looked everywhere. I called his friends, their family. They were nowhere to be found. So I took my blue umbrella and my pink hat, and I went out to find them myself. I looked in the playground, I looked in their school, at their friend's house, nothing. So I went on to the city. I've spoken about the city a few weeks prior, and I figured they had gathered up the courage and went to the city where I had prohibited them to go. So on I went. Good thing I brought my blue umbrella, because it was raining a lot. So there were the streets, the buildings, people. It was very difficult for me to find them. But then there was this one, right before I was about to give up. It was very dark at night, and I was exhausted. So I turned in the corner, and there they were. I told them that they needed to come with me. But more than angry, I was so relieved and happy to see them. And I just realized how much I loved them and how important it is to love your kids. And after that, nothing is as important.
By the way, guests are welcome. We will take some guests feeling brave. You still have time. I can pick someone else. That doesn't. Yes, come on up. Yeah. Great. Here's your prop tonight.
Oh.
Welcome spring is what Divine Mother said to me when I was born on the equinox of March 20th.
Oh, wow.
Just to soak it all in, these beautiful colors from green to purple to the yellow to the subtle blue in the bowl. You can see. Not with one, but 2 and all 3 of your eyes you can see. Now, being that this divine sentient being right here speaks to those who will listen, to those who are open and receptive enough to feel and granted the respect that it so rightfully deserves. Now, just the energy and the magnitude of holding a representation of creation itself is an honor and privilege. That's right. To all those that I can't see, but you can see me, here it is, close up to the screen. Yes, perhaps I could go on, create a lyrical marathon, and see how just nature doesn't need to speak. It just being. So therefore, I can just relax and breathe, knowing that I'll always be at peace. That I can lay down on the grass, so smooth, so green and clean, and yet take a look at the sky and also see that nature reminds me to always be at peace.
Cool. Yes. Not you viewers at home. Cindy, come on up.
Oh, yes. Oh. Fellow Toastmasters, honored and esteemed guests, and viewers at home. Of course, I'm on a diet, and what do I get? Food. There I am, laying peacefully on the tray. I'm the matzo on the Seder for Passover. Not just any whole wheat matzo, but I'm kosher too. I just love it when people stare and look at me and think, oh, how delicious I'll be when they first take that first bite. I'm also non-genetically engineered. And the company I came from, who gets all my raw ingredients tested at various laboratories. Maybe even a laboratory here in town called Genetic ID. We do a lot of testing on all kinds of stuff. And my ingredients, my goodness. But you know, I'm only whole wheat flour and water. So they don't test the water, but they have to test the wheat. I think I'll just lay back on that plate sitting on the Seder table and close my eyes and dream of all possibilities. Good night.
Ready?
Yeah.
One more now. It's great.
Fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home. Good evening.
Wow, I'm sunflower. See, look, everybody's looking at me. And I'm rose. Looks like rose. Oh, beautiful color. See leaves and see my hands are so dangling. I have something in my hand. Scooper or something. And here, I have tea kettle. Let's have tea, maybe rose tea. It will be fun. I can put honey in it and with rose tea and nice. Sit outside and enjoy on the backyard and have nice breeze and rose tea with honey. That will be great. I will invite you everyone to have rose tea in my garden and look at those beautiful flowers, sunflower and roses. And wow, I have shoes also. Both of them. One is broken, but that's okay. It's serving me well because my foot is covered fully. And it's nice. It's smiling.
Great. We have time? Cut. That's it. Thank you so much. I would now like to call up the table topics evaluator. We have to vote first. Let's check in with the timer. If you just read the names, please, Sandy, of the people that have qualified. Just their names.
For the table.
Yes.
Tom, Louise,
Oh, your first name?
Jonathan.
Jonathan. That's right, Jonathan.
Cindy,
And how do you pronounce your first name again, please?
Nirja.
Nirja.
Nirja, yeah. N-J,
N-E-E-R-J.
that's what I thought. Thank you. We're back. Tom and Cindy, the fantastic mentors, taught us that step in when you need to step in. I'm stepping in to be the table topic evaluator. Somehow or other we missed out that Joe T's not here, so I'll evaluate. I'm really stepping in. I have no tea. What do I need here? A little matzah? I eat when I'm stressed.
No, you eat anyway.
I eat anyway.
Yeah.
That's right. Who knows my eating physiology? All right, on to the show. I am getting a little extra time, but I don't want to take it up with nonsense. So here we go. The first speaker tonight, first of all, thank you, everyone. Brought a great lightness about spring in. The first speaker tonight was, help me. Tom. Okay, if I take the prop out too, I'll remember. Tom, techniques he used. He moved into story. He moved into a lot of metaphors, comparisons, and as always, one of the great things that I've always enjoyed about being in Toastmasters with Tom is he's always teaching. He's philosophical. You can always give us philosophy for a table topic, bringing your opinion, your outlook on life. I find that interesting. Tom came out. He was right there with us. He kept looking at the prop. I don't know about you, but I was sitting over there and my eye was just, the bunny almost became alive and real. I thought that was a pretty neat thing. I'll make these short so I get them all in. So thank you, Tom. What a treat that you spoke tonight. The next speaker was
Louise.
And any room for improvement? I can't think of one now. I just can't, and that's the truth. The next one was Luis. Wonderful Luis. Oh, with the umbrella. Oh my gosh. Yes. Wow. He moved into story right away. A sweet, delightful, heartfelt story. Zoomed right in on the umbrella, which was the main part of this. As soon as I saw it, I thought, well, you know, the spring showers that we're supposed to have at this time of year. So it was a delightful story. Again, I don't know about you, but I too just went right into this mother who was looking for her little babies. So the use of story. Room, I don't know, I don't have anything for you either with you. I'll email you if I think of something. The next speaker was Cindy?
Yes.
Cindy.
I don't know here.
No, it was.
Oh, the matzah. So Cindy used the option of speaking to us as if she were the matzah. It was hysterical. And the laying on the Seder plate, just using the prop. I learned this when I was introduced to prop night, how you can just use that prop and draw out some funny, as Cindy is, she is naturally humorous, just some really funny things. So you don't even have to say she didn't know anything about Passover or the matzah and its relationship to it. She was able to lead us to believe she did. And she brought in genetic ID. So great use of humor and the prop and coming from a different perspective. I loved it. Thank you so much. I'm just positive tonight. I'm just going to tell you. The next one was Jonathan, who had, I mean, what a great opening. Because he's a guest and you don't know where you're at, I mean, you're already there, in my opinion. You came up, you had this great opening that you were born at this time of year. It was almost like this prop was meant for you. You brought us into the color. You've got the viewers involved. The third eyes. I mean, you really went to town. Fantastic, thank you. And then finally, Nija, she got the little dolls. And I think that, I don't know what your level of experience is, but what I picked up from you was great comfort. And you two just kind of looked at these two, and they had names, and oh look, she's holding this, and we could have tea. And I don't know if you were modeling from Cindy or not, because Cindy used the prop, but you did as well. So you just used, I think, you know, Prana was doing this. I think you, to relax and get centered, just use these props to come across as very casual and knowing what you were doing. So, and you probably did, but I didn't know. And I thought, what a great way to, the broken shoe. And just sweet, you just brought a sweetness to it and made a great story. So the use of storytelling. Great stories. Thank you for engaging in prop night. And I'll now call up our general evaluator. Thank
you. Diane, thank you for channeling the spirit of Tom Trainer, stepping up there. Beyond any reasonable expectation, you did a fabulous job. Thank you. A moment here to breathe. I'll take a moment here just to breathe, because breathing is important. And now it's time. Yes, Gene. Yes, it's now time to vote for our evaluators. And there are 4 of them. Sandy ditto. Which of our 4 evaluators, including table topics, qualified?
Samantha and Rick.
Samantha and Rick. Please vote for Samantha or Rick.